I hope I'm audible to all of you. Right, so we are live again, and today we are back again with another important discussion on the JEE Mains previous year questions. So we are going to discuss the paper of 2nd of April 2025. Right, so I'm going to show you how you have to solve those questions. Right, so if you're someone who is new to this particular channel, I would like to welcome all of you to this particular channel of Pradhan Academy. Here we are basically discussing about the most important concepts regarding the JEE Mains. Along with that, we are solving the live paper solutions. Right, so I welcome all of you to this particular session. So please let me know what was your shift and which attempt was your this particular year. Right, so please let me know which shift did you give your paper. Right. So, and if you're new to this particular channel, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click on the bell icon so you never miss out any upcoming notification. We have been discussing so far about the important concepts regarding the JEE Mains, and we will doing that especially for the JEE Advanced as well. So we are basically coming soon for the revision series on JEE Advanced. So for students who have qualified the JEE Mains in the first attempt, or they are thinking that they will be qualifying the JEE Mains in the second attempt, can always start watching the sessions with me live on this particular session, right, on this particular channel. All right, so don't forget to subscribe to the particular channel to stay, and also don't forget to click on the bell icon to never miss out any upcoming notification. So with this particular thing, let's get started for today's session. And today we are going to discuss the JEE Main previous year questions of the paper of 2nd of April 2025. So I have taken up this paper and let's discuss how the questions were. Okay, and if you're in class 11th or you're starting your class 12, then I would say you can also be with this particular session and try to understand or try to solve the question which was came directly from the class 11th part. Right. So with this, I think that you will also gain a lot of confidence for your given upcoming examination. All right, so you will also be able to apply the things that you have already studied in your class 11, right, and that will actually help you to understand that how the papers are basically tuned for your actual JEE Main examination. So with this, I welcome all of you. So let's get the session started. Right, so today our goal is basically to discuss the previous year question of the JEE Mains paper, and especially I'm going to discuss the 2nd of April. I'm going to discuss the paper of 2nd of April 2025, and we will practice both MCQ and numerical type questions, especially for, and also we'll try to understand how we should tune our studies so that we can also attempt for the JEE Advanced examination. So we will also try to understand that what types of questions are also asked in JEE Advanced examination. So with this, let's get started, and this is basically the morning shift. Okay, I'm going to discuss the morning shift. So if you have given this particular paper, please give me a thumbs up. Please give me a thumbs up or an emoji, anything like that. If you have attended this particular paper, please let me know. Now, the paper was really interesting. I would say not very difficult, but it was very, very interesting, right? If you look at the problems were simple, yet they were interesting. Okay. Alright, very sorry. I am going to discuss the evening shift. Okay, very sorry. I'm going to discuss first of all the evening shift. Okay, I have taken up the questions from the evening shift. Okay, I'm sorry. Please recorrect yourself. Okay, so basically we are going to discuss the evening shift paper of 2nd of April. Alright, so let's get started on this particular discussion, and we will practice both the MCQ and numerical type, and also we'll try to understand how the question are basically being asked in JEE Advanced as well. Right, so with this, let's get started for the very first problem. So I hope this was the very first problem in an integer type questions. All right. Now all these questions are taken from the memory based paper. So therefore, I would like to all of you to please recheck these particular questions. And I think the questions were more or less the same, right? I hope this is clear to all of you. Please let me know if you have any questions. Okay. And if you're preparing for the upcoming JEE Advanced examination, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for this upcoming JEE Advanced examination as well. Alright, so we are going to soon launch the batch of revision series for especially targeting the JEE Advanced revision. Right, so with this particular thing, let's get started. Right, so the very first problem we have with us is basically going to be on the topic of, it's basically from the topic of sequential series. So if we look at the problem, it is said the total number of terms in an arithmetic progressions are even sum of the odd terms is 24. So the question is quite complicated in terms of the language. It is said that the total terms in an AP our even sum of odd terms is 24 and the sum of the even terms is 30. Last term exceeds the first term by 21 by 2, then find the total number of terms, right? So it is quite complicated in terms, but what is basically saying that let us first of all assume the total number of terms. Now you can always go with the total number of terms as n, but I am going to go with 2n because since it is said that the total number of terms is even and odd, so it will be easier for me to distinguish the even part as n and odd part as n also, right? So that's why I'm assuming 2 times of n, right? Now it is said that the summation of the even terms, so actually the language is something quite complicated. Actually it is mean to say that the sum of the odd term, the sum of the even term is differed from the odd term by a value of which can be simply found out as, so actually it is said that the sum of the odd terms is basically given as 24 and sum of the even terms is basically given as 30, right? So if we just try to find out, so first and foremost let us write it over here. The sum of the odd terms is given as 24 and sum of the even terms is given as 30. That's what the given information is, right? Now if I want to distinguish the sum of the even terms minus the sum of the odd terms, we'll interestingly find it out. It is nothing but equals to the common difference multiplied with the number of terms divided by 2. I hope this is clear, right? Now you can take up any general AP and you can find the difference of the sum of the even terms and the sum of the odd terms, right? And you will interestingly find it out that this is basically because all the consecutive terms are basically defined by a common difference of d, right? And therefore if you look at the even terms and the even terms, so if we just look at the difference of the even terms, it is basically going to be 2d, right? And if we take the sum, then it's very simple, and then we just take the difference of it, it is simply going to be very constant. That is, result is d into number of terms divided by 2. D into number of terms divided by 2. So therefore from this result what I can infer is that is 30 minus 24 is basically equals to d into 2n by 2. So what basically gives me the first relation is that n times d is basically equals to 6. So I get one of the relation as n times of d is equals to 6, right? That's our first given relation. Now it is said that, now it is also said in the problem that the last term exceeds the first term. So if we consider the last term of an AP as L and the first term of an AP as A1, so it is exceeding by the difference of 21 by 2. So it is different by a difference of 21 by 2 over here, right? So it is 21 upon 2, and therefore from this result what I can say, the last term is basically given as first term plus n minus 1 times of d, but we have 2n terms, so 2n minus 1 times of d. Right. So what I will get from here is that this result will generate the answer as 2 times of n minus 1 into d is equals to 21 upon 2. From here I'm going to get 2 times of nd minus of d is equals to 21 by 2. I hope this is clear to all of you. So from here if I just put in the value of nd over here, then this result is going to simplify as, so that is going to be equal to 12 minus d is equals to 21 upon 2. 12 minus d is equals to 21 upon 2. I hope this result is clear now. So from here we can easily solve for the given value of the common difference that will come out. So if we just solve it, it is going to come out as 3 upon 2. It is going to simply come out as 3 upon 2. Now we have the number of common difference. So therefore our task is to find out the number of terms. So that is very simple. So from here the number of n, the value of n is basically going to come out as, so n is going to come out as like this. So n is basically equals to 4. So once we have the value of n equal to 4, so number of terms is basically 2 times of n, which is basically equals to 8. I hope this is clear to all of you now, right? I hope this part is clear now, right? So therefore the answer to this particular problem, that the number of terms is basically given by 8. The number of terms to this particular AP is basically total number of terms are 8. Right, very simple problem. Just the language was quite complicated in the sense that, but it is saying the total number of terms in an AP you have to find it out such that the sum of the odd terms is given as 24 and sum of the even term is given as 30. The last term exceeds the first term by 21 by 2 difference, and then you have to find the total number of terms that is present in the given AP. Right. So with this I get the entire part of the question. So this is very simple to all of you now. I hope this is simple and clear to all of you. Right. Is this part clear to all of you? Please let me know, are you also getting the answer as 8? Did every one of you got the question correctly? Right. So if you try to solve this step by step, you will definitely get to the right answer. That is basically 8. So if we have marked at 8, you are definitely going to get plus 4. All right. Very similar problem. So if you just try to understand this problem, it's a very straightforward question. So only you have to basically do this manipulation step by step and do the calculations correctly. And the calculation was such that it was not very difficult, right? It was just a 1-2 liner calculations, right? So I hope that everyone must be getting this question corrected. Is this clear to all of you? Is this part clear to all of you? Please let me know in the comments. Alright, and if you're watching the session after the live class is over, you can always ask the doubts in the comment section as well. And if you want to get any personalized doubt clearance or one-to-one mentorship, you can always contact the number given in the description box. Okay, you can always contact my team with the given number in the description box, and you can always connect with me for one-to-one sessions or group sessions. Okay, in case you need any kind of personalized doubt clearance. Alright, so I hope you will take the well use of that things, and with this I hope this question is clear and the answer is going to be 8, right? So make sure that you understand this concepts clearly, okay, before we proceed. So I hope this is clear now to all of you. Let's proceed with the next problem, okay? So let's move to the next problem, and the next problem is quite interesting in terms, it is basically a question from coordinate geometry. So if you look at the problem, it is given that the given equation of the parabola is given as y square is equal to 16x, right? So if we recall, the standard equation of the parabola is given as y square is equal to 4ax. So from here, I'll get the value of a is basically equals to 4, right? And once we have the value of a for the standard parabola, the focus is basically at a comma 0, that is 4 comma 0, right? So therefore, for this given parabola, the focus is going to be at 4 comma 0. So if you try to draw the diagram of this parabola, so if we try to draw the diagram of this parabola over here, right, so it is basically going to start from origin and it's going to be like this, right, with the focus at 4 comma 0. I hope this is clear. Now it is said that in a point 1 comma minus 4, and there is a point which is basically given as 1 comma minus of 4, which is lying on the focal chord, Now focal chord are the chords to the parabola such that it is passing to the focus. So if I just take a chord which is passing the focus, one of the end of the focal chord is given as 1 comma minus 4, and let's say the other end of the focal chord is given as point B. So it is saying that you have to basically find the ratio in which the focus divides this particular given focal chord. Very simple, straightforward question, okay? Now, if we try to recall from the initial studies of the concept, we can represent any particular point on a parabola in terms of its parameter. That is, we can represent any point on a parabola in terms of parameter as given as 80 square comma 280. Now, if I define 2 points, let us say this is T1 and this is basically point A, which is given in parameter T1, and let us say this point B, which is given in the parameter T2. So if I just define this point in parametrically in T1 and T2, and let us say that these are basically the end points of the focal chord. So if this AB is a focal chord, if AB is a focal chord, then there is a very special relation, that is T1 T2 is equals to minus of 1. Then there is a very important relation, that is T1 T2 is equals to minus 1. That is very, very important to understand. Now if I consider this A given as, so A is over here as 4, so it is really 40 square into 80. So this is basically 80 over here. So this is called, let us call this T1. Okay. Now if I just try to compare with this particular given coordinate, so from this particular coordinate reference, I will get the value of T1 as equals to 1 upon 2, minus of 1 upon 2, right? I'll get the value of T1 as minus of 1 upon 2. So therefore, if this point A is having the parameter T as minus of 1 by 2, then definitely my point B is going to have the parameter as 2, because T1 into T2 is going to be equal to minus 1 because it is a focal chord, right? I hope this part is clear now. So if this is a focal chord, then this particular relation holds true, and therefore I will have the parameter of B as given as 2. So with this I can define the point B. So the point B is definitely going to be equal to, It's going to be equal to 16 comma 16. It's going to be equal to 16 comma 16. So therefore I have the coordinate of point A, I have the coordinate of point B. Now our only task is basically to decide that what ratio is this particular line AB divided by this focus F. So let us consider that the ratio is given as x is to 1. Okay, now I'm not considering x is to y because that will include one more variable. Rather than let us try to get the ratio as x is to 1, and the x will be less than one value, and that I can adjust and tell the ratio, right? That's very simple way. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to simply apply the section formula, right? So our focus is 4 comma 0 and the given point is 1 comma minus 4, and this point B is given as 16 comma 16, right? So we have this point B which is a point A, and this is focus, right? So let us say that this is basically dividing the ratio lambda is to 1. So then I'm going to just simply use the section formula from the coordinate geometry basics, right? So I'm just going to use the section formula. So therefore by using section formula, what I can write is as, so let us try to express the first of all the coordinate of x coordinate. So that is going to be equal to 16 lambda plus 1 divided by lambda plus 1 is equals to 1, sorry, is equals to 4, right? So if I try to solve this equation, I'm going to get 12 lambda. I'm going to get simply as, so if I just try to solve this, I'm going to get, so let me check if I have done any mistake or not. So okay, so let us assume for the simplicity case, let us assume this is 1 and t, okay, 1 and lambda. Let us assume this part is 1 and this is lambda. So in that case, this is basically going to be 16 plus lambda divided by lambda plus 1 is equal to 4, and which will simplify my part easily as, so this will simplify my part of the calculation, and it will give me the value of lambda, and it will simply give me the value of lambda as, so 3 lambda will come out as, so 3 lambda will come out as 12, and for this I will get the value of lambda as equals to 4. So if I had the value of lambda as equals to 4, therefore the ratio in which this focus is dividing this focal chord AB is basically given as 4 is to 1. So if I talk about AB, then I will write it as 1 is to 4, right? So but in the question it is basically a numerical or integer type question, so we have to basically represent with respect to 1. We have to represent the ratio with respect to 1. So therefore the integer value that you must have represented, or the answer to this particular ratio, is going to be equal to 4. I hope this is clear to all of you. So therefore the solution to the particular problem is going to be simply equal to 4. Is this part clear to all of you? Is this part clear to all of you? Please let me know in the live chat. Please let me know in the live chat. Is this part clear? Is this part clear to all of you? Right. I hope this part is clear to all of you, right? So I was much simpler in order to explain this question, right? Very simple problem. Just to remember the given constants and properties. Okay, if you remember the properties, then the question is very simple. Okay, please give it a look. If you are having any questions, you can always put that in the live chat. Okay, tell me if you have any questions. It's a very simple problem, just straightforward, right? It's a very simple straightforward problem. It's a very simple straightforward problem. So let's look into it and tell me if you have any questions or not. Is there any questions? Is there any questions? All right. So I hope there is no more questions. So let's proceed with the next problem then. Okay. So let's move to the next problem. So the next problem is basically going to be this problem. Now this is very interesting problem. Now class 11 students can also watch this question, and if you have covered the chapter of permutation and combination, then this question is very interesting to understand, right? There are given some letters and you have to arrange these letters in the given grids. As you can see over here, there are some grids points mentioned, and we have to basically try to provide the grids point. Okay, we have to try to fit in these letters in this grid point such that we will try to fit in those grid points such that Alright, so I'm going through the live chats. Okay, fine. So I hope you have no more questions. So let's go for it. Okay, so let's go for this particular problem and let's see how we can try to solve this problem over here. So it is said that there are given letters. So let us try to write the given letters. So given letters are basically given as A, B, C, D and E. These are the following given letters. Now it is said that we have to arrange these particular letters in this particular grid such that no of the two rows are remaining empty. Such that no two rows are remaining empty. That basically means that I have to fill no row is empty. Sorry, no two, it's not mentioned no two. It is said that no rows is remaining empty, right? It is said that no rows is remaining empty. So I have to fill up all the rows. So if I look at the letters, there are total 5 letters, right? There are total 5 letters. There are total of 5 letters over here. There are total 5 letters over here. And if you look at the grids over here, there are total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 and 8. There are total 5 letters and 8 grids, right? There are total 5 letters and there are 8 grid locations or grid squares, right? Now I have to arrange these 5 letters in these particular 8 places such that no rows is remaining empty. So for that, what I'm going to do, the best way to solve this question is to basically make the following cases. So how I'm going to make the cases is that, so let us try to understand, that how I can assume this. So let us say in the row 1, let us say row 2 and row 3. Okay, let us say we have to arrange these letters in row 1, row 2 and row 3. And these are the following alphabets that I'm going to put it over here. Okay, so the alphabet is basically, so in the first row what I can do, I can put one alphabet in this particular first grid and the second alphabet in another grid, and then in the row 2 I can do 2, and in any of the 3 boxes I can put any 3, right? So this is also basically a possible choice, like at least in row 1 I can put one of the letters in anywhere, right? And then in the row 2 I put 2 letters, right? And in row 3 again I put 1 letters. In that case also it is basically going to be, sorry, I put 2 letters, right? In this case, this is going to be equal to total of 5 letters, right? Also one more choice can be that in the first row I can again put only 1 letter. In the second row I fill all the 3 letters, and in the third row again I fill the 1 letter. Now these are the all possible combinations that can be possible over here. Now therefore, if we try to count the total number of ways for filling this part, that is basically going to come out as, so what is basically going to be done over here is that what I'm going to do, so this is basically going to generate the case, is going to generate the case, it's going to generate the case that is 3C1 into 3C2 into 2C2, right? This for the first case. And for the second case, or, so we will have to, these are the following cases, right? So I'm just adding all the cases. So or 3C1 into 3C2 into 2C1. I hope this is clear. So basically there are 3 boxes, and in the 3 boxes we are basically putting any one of the letters, right? That's what the thing is. Now, so this is basically going to give you total of 9 ways, and this is basically going to give you 6 ways. So total of 15 ways are there. Now we have to count for, now we also have to look that when we are arranging, so let us say in row 1, now there are also possible cases are that again in row 1, row 2 and row 3. So what I can also do is that in row 1 again I can put 2 letters, in row 2 I can put 1 letter, and in row 3 I can put 2 letters. Similarly, I can also change these cases to, this is also 2 and this is also 1 over here, right? So there will again 2 more cases. Again I can do something cases like in row 1, row 2 and row 3, something like 3, 1 and 1 over here, 3, 1 and 1, right? So it is all like the arrangements of these letters, that is 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, right? So as you can see, I'm just doing the internal combinations of them. So therefore, if you just try to do this and then you have to arrange this, permute all the letters also, right? So the total number of ways there are possible, that is, there are again from here also, if you just look over here, from these 2 cases, so from these 2 cases, if you just try to do this calculation, it is going to give you total of 9 from this case and total of 18 from this case, right? So which is basically equal to 27 ways, right? And similarly from here we are going to get only 6 cases, right? 6 ways. So therefore there is total of, now these are total ways of selecting. Okay, this is basically for selecting. This total ways of selecting, that is basically going to be equal to 9 plus 6 plus 6 plus 27. Now these are the total ways of selecting. Now I also have to arrange them. So therefore total ways of arrangement are basically simple. Total ways of arrangement, the total arrangements are basically going to be the sum of the ways of the selection multiplied with 5 factorial, because I can also do the arrangement of these 5 letters, that is basically done in 5 factorial. So I will just do 5 factorial multiplied with this particular summation, which is basically 9 plus 12 plus 27, right? And if we just equate this result, so this is basically 36 plus 12, which is 48, and 48 into 120, that is going to generate the result as, simply equal to 5760. 5760, that is going to be the correct answer to this particular problem. I hope this problem is clear to all of you. I hope this particular problem is clear to you. So therefore, the numerical answer I'm getting from this particular problem is going to be 5760. 5760. I hope this part is clear to all of you. I hope this part is clear, right? I'm hoping that this part is clear to all of you, right? Please let me know in the live chat. Did you also get the answer as 5760? Did you also get the answer as 5760? Please let me know in the comments or the live chat. What was the answer that you get? What was the answer that you are getting from here? So the answer we are getting is basically 5760 ways. So there are 5760 ways in which we can arrange these particular letters such that no rows is remaining empty. Okay. I'm assuming this is clear to all of you. Please let me know if you have any questions. Okay. So with this, let's move to the next problem. So the next problem we have with us is basically a problem from quadratic equations. Okay. So it's a very straightforward problem. We have to basically find out the solution for the value of a such that this particular quadratic equation is going to have the positive roots. Now let me try to explain you how we basically try to solve this question. Now in order to solve this kinds of question, you don't have to remember any difficult formulas or any cases, especially when we are discussing the chapter. Now what you have to understand is what is the basic concept in order to get to this particular condition. Let us see. Okay, so if we have any quadratic equation, now the graph of the quadratic expression is basically a parabola, right? So let us try to draw any quadratic expression like this, quadratic equation like this. The roots are basically given as alpha beta. Okay, the roots are given as alpha beta. Now if I have to make the roots positive, then what do I have to ensure is that the first and foremost thing that I have to ensure is that the median value or the midpoint of this particular region should be greater than 0. Right, that is basically, I mean to say that is basically alpha by beta by 2 should be greater than 0. Right, that's the first and foremost condition. Right, next what you have to also ensure is that, first and foremost thing is basically that there should be 2 roots. First and foremost thing, because it is again saying it is have positive roots, right? Now since it is positive roots, or it can also have one root which is positive, that is also possible case. So that is basically greater than or equal to 0. So first and foremost thing is discriminant should be greater than or equal to 0. That's the first and foremost equation, right? Now second thing that we also need to get is that alpha plus beta by 2 should be also greater than 0. That basically means the sum of the root should also be greater than 0. Sum of the root should also be greater than 0. Now, and if both the roots are of the same sign, then your alpha into beta should also be greater than 0. Your alpha into beta should also be greater than 0. Now, if you are able to satisfy the 3 conditions together, then you are able to ensure that the given roots are going to have positive value. So therefore, the given roots will be positive, right? So therefore, from here, what I get for first condition, it is basically b minus 4ac is greater than or equal to 0. So which is basically yielding me the result as 1 minus 4 times of a minus 1 should be greater than or equal to 0, and there should be multiplied 3 over here, right? So which is basically going to give me the answer as a minus 1 should be less than or equal to 1 upon 12, which will result the answer as a should be less than or equal to 13 by 12. A should be less than or equal to 13 by 12. That's for the first condition. Now let us try to solve the second one. The second one is saying the sum of the roots. So we know sum of the roots is basically minus b upon a for the general equation ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. So from this we will have the result as simple as minus 1 upon a minus 1 should be greater than 0. So with this condition I will also have the result of inequality, that is a should be less than 1. A should be less than 1. Right, so we have one condition that is a should be less than or equal to 13 by 12. We have one more condition that is a should be less than 1. Now, from the last condition, the product of the rule which is given by C by A, so that is going to be equal to 3 upon A minus 1 should be greater than 0, which is basically going to give the result as A should be greater than 1. So therefore, the ultimate result we are going to get it over here is that there is no possible values of A for which we are going to have the positive real roots, because A, it is saying one of the result is saying that A should be less than 1 of the result is saying that A should be greater than 1, which basically means that there is no possible values or no values of A for which we are going to have the positive roots. So okay, so therefore there the option of this particular problem is that no values of A. Okay, that is the given option. So there was 4 options given. So out of the 4 options, the last option that was given is basically no values of A or not possible. Okay, that's what you have to mark up in the answer sheet. Okay, so I hope you also got the answer as option as no values of A, right? Please let me know if you have any questions. Do let me know if you have any questions over here. I hope this part is clear. Very simple, straightforward, right? It's very simple and straightforward. So if you just try to understand the concepts that what I am doing over here, you're going to get the result in a straight manner. All right. So do let me know if you have any questions. I'm assuming this part is clear. So let's move to the next problem. Okay. So the next problem is a question from the chapter of limits. Okay. So the question is very interesting. It is not directly the question that what you apply the value of the limit and you get the solution. It is said that the limit value is non-zero finite term. That means the limit will exist. That means limit will exist only when the condition of the fraction is basically either of 0 by 0 form or infinity by infinity form or one of those given indeterminate form, right? So if you look at this problem over here, putting x equals to 0, this form is basically should go towards 0 by 0 form, right? So at x equals to 0, this particular form should tend towards 0 by 0 form. That means the result of the numerator, that is 1 plus a minus of b, 1 plus a minus of b should be equal to 0. Should be equal to 0. So from here I get one equation, that is a minus b is equal to minus of 1. That is a minus b is equals to minus of 1. Is this part clear? Now the next thing that I'm also going to check is that let us try to use the expansions. Okay, let us try to use the expansion of cos x and try to understand the result. So cos of 2x expansion is basically, so that is 1 minus 2x square by 2 factorial plus 2x to the power 4 by 4 factorial and so on, and then plus a times of 1 minus 4x whole square by 2 factorial plus 4x whole to the power 4 by 4 factorial and so on, minus of b whole divided by x to the power 4. Now I know that you can always apply the, since it is 0 by 0 form, you can always try to apply the L'Hopital rule, right? But that will require you to differentiate lot of times. So better to get the result in a smaller approach, that is basically doing it like this. So from here, in order the result to be existing, the constant term that we are having, which is devoid of the term x, that should cancel out. That means your 1 plus a should be equal to 0. 1 plus a minus b should be equal to 0, which are also satisfying, right? Which are always satisfying, which I'm already satisfied. Now second thing that I need to explore is that the terms in the square of x square, the terms which are containing x square should be cancelled out, right? So if you just look over here, it is basically going to give you the result as 4x square by 2, and this is going to give you the result as minus of 16x square by 2 times of a, right? Now this should be also equal to 0. Now this should be also equal to 0, which will result the answer as 8 times of a should be equal to minus of 2, right? So therefore the result of a, therefore I got the value of a as equals to minus of 1 by 4. Now if I have the value of a, I can always try to find out the value of b. So therefore if I try to do it that way, then the value of b I'm going to get it is basically 3 upon 4, and ultimately the result for this value of a plus b is going to give me the answer as, so a plus b is going to be minus 1 by 4 plus 3 by 4 is going to give me the answer as 1 upon 2. Okay, so that is basically 2 upon 4, which is basically simplified and written as 1 upon 2. So the option to this particular problem was given as 1 upon 2, which is you have to be the correct answer. I hope this is clear to all of you. I hope this part is clear to all of you. Please let me know. Please do let me know if you have any questions. Do let me know in case you have any questions. All right, very straightforward problem. So I just use the expansions. Okay, now I would say that preparing for JEE Advanced, you have to basically keep in mind all these expansions. These expansions will be helping you out in order to solve the questions of limits. Okay. So many times, not remember the direct formulas won't help. Okay. Rather, you have to also remember some of the given or required expressions or the expansions. Okay. So that will generate you the given answer. I hope this is clear to all of you. I hope this part is clear. Is this part clear to all of you? Right? So finally, the answer to this particular problem is going to be equal to 1 upon 2. Alright. So I'm hoping that this is clear. So let's move to the next problem then. So the next problem is another very interesting problem. We have to basically find the given domain for a given function over here. So if we look at the function which we are given over here, it is given as 1 upon square root of 3x plus 10 minus x squared plus 1 upon square root of x plus mod of x. And it is said that the domain of this function is given as x is basically belongs to a comma b. X is basically belonging to a comma b. I hope this is clear. Right. So a is basically belongs to, that is basically you're said to say the values of a and b. So the domain of this function is going from a to b, and you have to result the answer of 1 plus a square, a whole square plus b square. That's the answer you have to result, right? So let's try to understand how to solve this question. Now, whenever we have algebraic functions involving square root function in the denominator, the thing is that it should not be equal to 0, and also the square root should be, the whatever values is provided inside the square root should be positive, because we are dealing with the real values, right? So therefore, from here the condition that I will going to have is that this particular expression should be greater than 0. That's our first condition that we have to check. And the second condition is x plus mod of x should also be greater than 0. That's the second condition. Right. So if we just try to look at this, solve this problem over here, very simple manner. So the course, very simple way. So I just factorize this part. So it is going to be x minus 5 into x minus 2, right? And that is basically less than 0. So x plus 2, right? That is basically less than 0. So from here, I'll get the inequality in x is basically belongs to minus 2 to 5. X is basically belongs to minus 2 to 5. And similarly, from this particular relation, that is x plus mod of x should be greater than 0, x plus mod of x should be greater than 0, I get the solution over here is that your x should be greater than 0. Your x should be greater than 0, right? Therefore, this result is going to, therefore, if I take the intersection of the first and the second condition, okay, if I take the intersection of the first and the second condition over here, then I'm going to get the result of x is basically going from 0 to 5. Then I will have the value of x is going from 0 to 5. So ultimately, I'll get the value of a as 0 and b as 5, which on solution, this particular result is going to be equal to 26, which is going to be equal to 26. I hope this is clear to all of you. So the numerical value to this particular problem is going to be equal to 26. I hope you have also got the same answer as mine. Do let me know if you have got the same answer. So what's the answer you all getting? Is it 26? Is this part clear? So what I'm doing, I'm just using the simple way of defining the algebraic function. That is, whatever is present in the square root should be greater than 0. And also, since it's a denominator part, so it should not be equal to 0. So therefore, all the inequalities that I have in terms of x should be greater than 0. Should be greater than 0. I hope this part is clear to all of you. Okay, I'm assuming this part is clear. So assuming this part is clear, let's go to the next problem. So the next problem is another very interesting problem. This is basically a problem from the trigonometric equations. Okay, so if we look at the trigonometric equations over here, the best way to solve this question is basically by assuming sine theta as some variable t. By assuming sine theta as some variable t, and therefore the solution is going to be looking like root 3 by t square minus 2 times of root 3 minus 1 divided by t minus 4 is equal to 0. So on solution of this particular quadratic equations in t, we are going to get the result as t is equal to 1 by 2, and one of the t value is going to be minus of root 3 by 2. Right. So therefore, for t is equal to 1 by 2, that basically means sine theta is 1 by 2. So if we look at this particular interval, that is minus pi by 7 pi by 6 to 4 pi by 3, the results that is going to satisfy is basically pi by 6, 5 pi by 6, and I'm going to also have minus of 7 pi by 6. And similarly, if I look the result of Sin theta as minus of root 3 by 2. The result that is going to be satisfied is minus of 2 pi by 3 minus of pi by 3, right? And lastly, I also going to satisfy that is 4 pi by 3. So these are all the possible solutions. So therefore, ultimately, if we look at the number of solutions for this particular problem, we are going to have the total number of solution as 6. So total number of solution is going to be equal to 6. Total number of solution is going to be equal to 6. I hope this part is clear to all of you. I hope this part is clear to all of you. Do let me know if you have any questions till now. Do let me know if you have any questions so far. I hope this is clear. I hope this part is clear to all of you. Right. All right. So with this, we are almost done solving the important questions of this session of 2nd of April 2025 paper. All right. So I hope you have done this question paper very nicely, because the questions are very simple and straightforward. Okay. If you have practiced well, if you have practiced your questions very nicely, then the questions are very simple, straightforward. Once you know the concept, you have to apply the concept to get to the solution. Okay, the questions are very straightforward in getting the answers. Okay, there are not much of calculations involved. You have to just know the direct results of the particular properties, right? So for example, the properties of focal chord, the properties regarding the coordinate geometry, the properties regarding to the quadratic equations, all things you have to be very careful, and you have to have those results at your fingertips. All right. So if you have those results at your fingertips, this paper is very simple to crack. Right. So with this discussion, let us end our session over here. So I wish you all the best for your upcoming JEE Advanced examination if you have done well for this paper, and we will be looking forward to our JEE Advanced revision sessions. Okay. So with this, if you're new to this particular channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please click on the bell icon so that not to miss out any upcoming notification on this particular platform. Right. So with this word, let's end our session over here, and thank you all of you. Thanks for your time.